Hello everyone, I hope you're all doing well today. My name is Alalawi from the University of Bahrain, and today I'm presenting our work on assessing the impact of the indoor environmental quality on occupant well-being in Bahrain's hospitals. We're looking at two different concepts today, so indoor environmental quality and well-being. Now, they have a very complicated relationship and are considered a significant area of study within architectural literature. Us humans, we spend about 80 to 90% of time indoors, which really highlights the importance of the indoor environment. And many factors come into play, such as thermal, acoustic, visual, and chemical factors, which have a huge impact on the well-being of building occupants. And these impacts are both short-term and long-term. So the global climate crisis has led to an increase in greenhouse gas emissions, which has a huge impact on the quality of life and well-being of building occupants, and therefore having this urgency for architects and designers to create healthy buildings which have positive indoor environments. Now, this brings us to our main research problem, which is the increase in greenhouse gas emissions in Bahrain. They're considered amongst the highest per capita in the world. And the risk of the decline in quality of life, as currently Manama, the capital, ranks 144th out of 241 global cities and 4 out of 6 in the GCC. There's also limited research, as the US is the top publisher and Saudi Arabia is the only GCC publisher. So the objectives include investigating occupant perceptions of well-being and indoor environmental quality, analyzing the current physical state of the hospital, followed by assessing the impact of the indoor environment on well-being. This uses a mixed methodology approach of questionnaire and observations and relates to SDG 3, which is good health and well-being. To give a brief overview on the indoor environmental quality, we need to take a look at the definition of it. So it's the quality of conditions that affect the health, well-being, comfort, productivity, and satisfaction of building occupants, and is considered one of the most important parameters in building design. These conditions include the thermal environment, indoor air quality, acoustical environment, and visual environment. And the indoor environmental quality has a huge impact on reducing stress, injuries, increasing resale values of buildings, and reducing liability for owners. Assessing the indoor environmental quality and well-being in hospitals is considered very complex, as there are different efforts used in order to protect occupants against diseases, ensure infection control, speed up recovery, improve performance and well-being. And there are many theories and advancements in human-centered design used to enhance occupant well-being through the indoor environment. For example, we have Ulrich's theory of supportive design, Kaplan's attention restoration theory. However, this particular paper uses Ackley et al.'s recommendations for enhancing the indoor environment within healthcare buildings in particular. It looks at thermal comfort, air quality, acoustics, and visual comfort. So I'll give you a brief overview of Bahrain. Bahrain is a hot and humid island in the Arabian Gulf. We have long summers and dry winters, and due to the intensity of the climate, a lot of people tend to spend time indoors, especially in the summer. So this highlights the importance of the indoor environmental quality. Additionally, air pollution is an issue due to the exposure of indoor air pollutants, poor ventilation, burning of biomasses, and overcrowding of cities. And we have different guides for the design of buildings in Bahrain. However, many of them do not explicitly address indoor environmental quality attributes within building design. So when it comes to the design of the methodology for this research, I looked at a mixed methodology combining a quantitative questionnaire and then also looking at physical observations of the actual environment of the hospitals to try and triangulate between the two and try and understand what is the relationship here. We're also looking at thermal comfort, air quality, acoustics, and visual quality, which are adopted to assess the perceptions of the indoor environment. So hospital as a building typology was used for this study due to its intensive energy usage. And in Bahrain, we have 11 licensed public hospitals and 21 private hospitals. So a leading private hospital has been selected due to its strategic location, the increased number of patients per year, and accessibility of data. And this study sets the foundation for future research involving multiple hospitals in Bahrain. And this diagram shows the location of the current hospital within Manama, the capital of Bahrain. The main objective of the questionnaire was to investigate the perceptions of occupants' well-being and the hospital's indoor environmental quality. It was distributed online via Google Forms, and we had approximately 54 participants. These included nurses, doctors, administrative and support staff. However, visitors and patients were excluded as their perceptions of the environment could have been affected by different physical or mental conditions. And the ethical approvals were followed by the distribution of the questionnaire and statistical analysis of the data. The main objective of the observations was to analyze the current state of the hospital and to triangulate the results with the questionnaire findings. We used a checklist based on Ackley et al.'s design recommendations, and we also obtained permission from the hospital management to conduct the site visit. And this is the checklist below, used to determine the presence of different architectural factors related to the indoor environmental quality. So the first part of the questionnaire included questions on demographics, so asking occupants about their role at the hospital, the years of service, their perception of comfort, frequency of symptoms that could be related to the indoor environment, any awareness about energy efficiency measures. And so we can see that most of the occupants were comfortable with their physical well-being at the hospital. Most of them sometimes experienced symptoms that could be related to the indoor environment. And as for their awareness of energy efficiency measures, most of them were aware of staff training on sustainability issues. The second part of the questionnaire looked at assessing the perception of the indoor environmental quality factors. And although most of them received good feedback, we can see here on the diagram on the right that air quality got the best feedback. And then this is followed by thermal comfort, noise, and then visual comfort. The third and final part of the questionnaire looked at assessing the impact of architectural factors on occupants' well-being, and temperature and ventilation was considered the one with the most impact on their well-being, whilst building layout had the least impact on their well-being. And for the statistical analysis, the Spearman correlation was adopted due to the non-normality of the data set and the nature of the Likert scale data. And so it was all ranked prior to the correlational analysis, and the results of the multiple linear regression indicate that all the architectural factors except for natural light and temperature control have a significant impact on occupant well-being. The results also indicate that outdoor views and thermal comfort have the highest positive correlations with occupant well-being. However, surprisingly, natural light has the least correlation with well-being. Now, with regards to the observations conducted at the hospital, Table 7 presents the results of the checklist based on the different indoor environmental quality factors present within the spaces inside the building. And Figure 7 here shows the lack of windows and natural daylight within the circulation areas of the building. So this part presents the triangulation of the questionnaire and observation findings. Despite high air pollution, indoor air quality was reported as good. The majority of occupants were comfortable. They only sometimes experienced symptoms because of the indoor environment. Outdoor views and thermal comfort were scoring the highest, and this could be due to the limited windows within the building. So based on the results of the study, this diagram here presents recommendations to enhance the indoor environmental quality of Bahraini hospitals. So with regards to the thermal comfort, we propose maintaining a temperature between 21 and 24 degrees, incorporating openable windows for ventilation, having a proper layout for heat distribution and ventilation flow, and for the air quality, having mixed ventilation techniques and passive design strategies, including nature within the building, natural elements, having an advanced HVAC system, and having regular monitoring and maintenance of the building. With regards to the acoustics, so having the flexibility to open doors and windows in certain areas, include absorbent materials as well, having signs to reduce noise, having quiet spaces, and careful planning, especially for restrooms and other loud spaces. As for the visual comfort, maximizing window size to allow natural light, allowing more windows to provide outdoor views, including different colors, including flexible shading. Now, to conclude, the study investigated occupant perceptions of well-being and indoor environmental quality in one of the leading private hospitals in Bahrain. It addresses limited studies in the region, and some of the limitations of the study include the nature of the questionnaire. And so further research could include physical measurements and monitoring of indoor environment to assess well-being, integration of other sampling techniques to investigate investigate the perceptions of patients after some time from their visits, and finally additional studies of different hospitals to enrich the results for more generalized findings. So some of the main conclusions here are that outdoor views and thermal comfort impact occupant well-being the most, and this is in line with Kaplan's attention restoration theory and Ulrich's theory of supportive design. Second is that natural light and air quality impact occupants' well-being the least. And finally, occupants are generally satisfied with the indoor environment, particularly with air quality, whilst visual comfort scored low, and this could be due to the lack of windows, daylighting, and views. Thank you very much.